Crater Lake National Park, the crown jewel of Oregon. Over 700,000 visitors flock to this magnificent national park annually to explore its spectacular views, hiking and biking. But very few people get to experience Crater Lake in the winter, and it is absolutely stunning. It is also a mecca for winter recreation from snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, and backcountry skiing with copious amounts of snow averaging 43 feet annually and extremely cold temps with a record low recorded of negative 21 degrees Fahrenheit. This is a simple story of my partner Emily and I spending a night out there over New Year's Eve, exploring the rim, doing some skiing and camping in some extremely cold temps. We're going to share with you our trip plan and some tips for winter camping. We started at the Steele Visitor Center at 6,450 feet. The road was not plowed to the rim. We were planning at starting at this location anyway, but there were plenty of other tourists disappointed that they weren't going to get a glimpse of the lake. That wasn't going to happen to us. We were getting geared up and we saw this beautiful Clark's Nutcracker, and these guys are actually pretty aggressive. Look at him, he's ferocious. He's gonna steal your snacks. Winter is off to a strong start in Southern Oregon with a 122-inch snowpack. It was nearly twice as tall as I am, and we were looking forward to getting on top of this massive snowbank and starting our tour. We started skinning on the road, which is a mix of snow and ice. Actually made for some pretty smooth skiing, and finally we made our way across the boundary into the wilderness, heading up some pretty steep terrain here. Emily's backpack was about 25 pounds, mine was pushing 40. There is a link in the description below to our winter camping checklist to help you pack effectively for your next overnight winter adventure. We kept pushing on upward. It was pretty deep snow, lots of trail breaking. That's why we're in base layers, working pretty hard here. We were swapping out lead just to conserve energy, but the views were just getting better and better. The snow was getting deeper and deeper, and it was still quite cold. Finally, we crested a knoll and got our first peak of the rim, Garfield Peak on the left, all the way over to Applegate. So we continued skinning up towards the rim. We were psyched to be getting closer and finally get our first glimpse of Crater Lake, but you must be very careful. It's heavily corniced and people have died by getting too close and having cornice collapse. So we were very diligent about staying far beyond the edge, and peering into the lake, we got our first look at Phantom Ship. The sun finally came out as we made our final push into base camp. We were heavily discussing where we wanted to set up our base camp. The forecast was favorable, very little wind, but very cold temps. We knew we wanted to camp somewhere in this bowl of Applegate Peak in a place where we could ski in and ski out with great views. And we found just that spot at about 7,700 feet. We began digging out our tent platform. We tag teamed this, building a wall on the windward side to give us a little protection. Also, digging into the snow can help provide a little additional insulation sleeping in really cold temps. Once we had our platform built, we used our skis to tamp it down for a nice solid foundation, and then we popped up our tent at 7,750 feet. Once our tent was set up, we went ahead and started building out our kitchen. You can get really creative building these in the snow. We kept ours pretty simple because it was just one night for 2 people, and we were eager to get to some skiing. So we left base camp and started skinning up towards the summit of Applegate Peak. Then it was time for our first descent off the summit of Applegate Peak.
out, baby.
We had so much fun on our first lap that we went back to camp, had a quick snack, and skinned back up to the summit and got this incredible view of Mount Scott, the tallest peak at Crater Lake National Park. Looking to the north across the lake, we got some stunning light on Lau Rock. On day one, we'd covered approximately 5 miles and 3,300 feet of elevation, had some really amazing skiing, and as the sun was going down, we were starting to get prepared for what was forecasted to be a very cold and clear evening, and we were reveling in what we did during the day. We pretty much tracked out Applegate Peak and were really soaked in the sunset. We got some incredible night photos. There was no moon and it was crystal clear and cold. I brought a little thermometer and the coldest reading we got was minus 15 degrees Celsius or 5 degrees Fahrenheit. After laying in the tent for about 12 hours, the sun finally popped up and we got this incredible view of Union Peak at 7,714 feet, and Garfield Peak was doing its thing, getting that alpenglow first thing in the morning. After what seemed like forever, the sun finally popped over the ridge and slowly warmed us up. Emily opted for a little pre-ski yoga, while I opted to go for another lap on Applegate Peak. After a full morning of skiing, it was unfortunately time to pack up camp and start heading out. The ski out from our camp was actually quite mellow, pretty low angle terrain until you get below tree line, but we were still reveling in the soft and smooth snow conditions, navigating skiing with a heavy backpack, which, if you've never done, is quite challenging to maintain balance. So we were doing our best. We made it down to the road we started on and wrapped up our trip by heading into the visitor center. Thank you so much for watching our winter camping trip to Crater Lake National Park. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and we'll see you next time here at OAT.